My name's Chris Hadfield. I'm a colonel in the Air Force, retired, and was an astronaut for 21 years and commander of the International Space Station.
Perfect. So I just want to ask what your thoughts are about Elon Musk's plan to go to Mars.
Uh, when I was born, no one had ever been to space. It was impossible. And in less than my lifetime, we have not only left Earth, we've had people walk on the moon, and we've had people permanently living on a space station for the past 16 years. We've sent probes, not just to the moon and Mars, but all the way past Pluto. And we're driving around on Mars right now with rovers. Elon Musk didn't even have a rocket company in the year 2000. SpaceX didn't exist. And yet here we are now, and he's one of the main rocket companies in the world and regularly supplying the International Space Station. So things go fast. And if anything, it's accelerating. But at the same time, Mars is hard to get to. Mars is not easy. I think it's a good thing to say. We're going to Mars. That's our objective. But there's a million steps between here and Mars. And a lot of things are going to go wrong. And so my guess is we'll go from the space station to permanent habitation on the moon and eventually learn enough stuff that we're ready to turn and go to Mars. But it'll be a while yet.
What do you think Canada's part will be in this mission to Mars, or if we even have a part?
Canada's part in space flight has always been to be involved, to come up with hardware that we can build better than anybody else and provide really good people. We had some of the main engineers for the Mercury program when NASA first sent their astronauts to space. The chief engineer for the lunar lander was a guy named Owen Maynard from Southern Ontario. There were people involved in the shuttle program. We built the arm that let us have astronauts. We built the arm for the space station. We build three-dimensional visualization systems. We build radiation detectors. We build hardware that's on Mars right now, on unmanned vehicles, orbiting Saturn, orbiting Jupiter. Those Canadian hardware. So none of that's about to stop. That's, I think, what's going to happen in the future. We're not going to be the ones launching the big rockets. But I think we will have an intrinsic part of space flight, no matter who's doing it, whether it's the Russians or the Chinese or the Indians or the Japanese or the Americans or a private company even like Elon Musk's. I think there will always be Canadian hardware and Canadian people involved.
And do you think this whole plan to go to Mars is achievable in, I guess, both our lifetimes?
I'm not sure why there's any big rush to go to Mars. There's some sort of weird perception that if we just get one person to Mars, suddenly we'll have solved some societal problem or something. And I just don't see it that way. I think it is the natural, inevitable, continued extension of what we've been doing. We went from unable to do it to barely able to do it to safer and safer to now permanently living in orbit. So I think you just extrapolate. We'll send people to the moon temporarily, then permanently, and then eventually we'll send people temporarily to Mars and then permanently to Mars. But there's no big rush. And that one threshold moment when someone gets to Mars, it'll be fascinating. It'll be an interesting event. But it won't be the start or the end of anything. It'll just be the next step. Like the first person that got to New Zealand 800 years ago, or the first person that got to Antarctica 120 years ago. It's just part of human exploration.
All right, and just my last question. You always go and speak to different events, and I was just wondering what you hope people get from you speaking or telling you are you telling them your story?
I think the most important message that I try and portray is to have a long-term, crazy, impossible kind of goal in your life. Things that you want to happen in your life that probably, I want to, whatever. I want to climb Mount Everest and win a gold medal in the Olympics and be a heart surgeon. Or whatever your particular wish. Mine, I wanted to walk on the moon. That's the goal I gave myself. And stick that up on some distant mental wall as the thing that really excites you. If your life was a comic book, that's how it would turn out. But then use that to help you decide what to do next. If that's what I really want to do, if I really want to be a heart surgeon, then what book should I read? What should I do this weekend? Maybe I should study scalpels. Maybe I should study the aorta. Maybe, I don't know, it doesn't matter. But obviously, if that's what I want to do, then I should start changing who I am now. And I may never do that. But if I start changing who I am now, I'm going to slowly turn myself into someone that I want to be more than I am the person now. So I think that process of self-molding in pursuit of a long-term distant goal, to me, that is the message that I hope people take away and re-examine maybe their own long-term and therefore short-term decision making.